What's up? I have here the Google Pixel 9 Fold. And out of all of the foldables in the last year, this one has probably had the biggest glow up. The question is, does it live up to the hype? Well, we'll find out in a second. So, out of all of the foldables coming out this year, I had my eye on two. One being that Z Fold 6 from Samsung, which never made it off a UPS truck. I'm not salty at all. Thanks, UPS. And the other being that Google Pixel 9 Fold. Now, we all know I ended up getting that Vivo X Fold 3 Pro, which I absolutely love. But there was still something calling me about that Pixel 9 Fold that I just had to check on. Calling me? Pixel 9? Okay, never mind. Now, one of the first things I noticed when I got this out of the box was the build quality. It feels sturdy. It feels premium. It feels exactly what you would hope out of a device that costs $2,000, which is still pretty crazy. When it comes to looks, all of the foldables are subjective. Like, I think this looks pretty good. Yeah, the camera cutout's a little big and off to the side. It did deviate from the rest of the Pixel 9 series, which is a shame, but it looks good. Especially when you compare it to the Chinese foldables that have the giant circular camera cutout, or the Z Fold 6 from Samsung. All of them are styled differently, so everyone's going to have a different opinion on which foldable looks good and which one's hideous. This is actually my first Pixel. I was going to buy the Pixel Fold last year, but the apps weren't really optimized for the device, so I figured there was enough red flags there that I would just kind of wait and give it some time, but I'm happy I made the leap now. The UI is pretty cool. It's not exactly stock Android, but it's like a Pixel launcher, so it's a version of the cleanest version of Android you can get, might I say. Right? Now, not comparing it to the other flagship phones, foldables, candy bar style phones, it feels pretty smooth. Like, I didn't really notice any like crazy lag or bugs or anything like that. It felt like a premium device, which is what you want out of a phone that costs this much. Feature-wise, that's the part that really got to me because, of course, it has all of the Google stuff baked in, but like I have a lot of Google Home products at my house, and connecting with all of those things just made it really easy. So prior to me owning this phone, I guess the most hype feature that I was hearing about was the Add Me feature on the camera. The best way I can explain that is if there's a group of you and y'all all want to take a picture together and there's no one around for miles, then you can literally have one person take the picture and then sub that person out for another person to take a picture, and voila, Google magic, and everybody's in the picture. It is really cool. It does feel like a gimmick, but I did have a lot of fun with this. I mean, a lot of fun. So, now another feature that's really cool on this phone, that's not new to Pixels, but new to me, because it's my first one, is Direct My Call. You know what? Let's just test this out. So essentially, if somebody calls you, you can hit a button and then select which prompt you want this automated voice to read off. And once it does, whoever's calling, they'll say whatever they need to say and you'll get the transcription, so you'll know exactly why they're calling. And from there, you can choose to do follow-up prompts, or you can answer the call, or you can just send them on their merry way and hang up. But it's still like one of the coolest features I've ever seen on a phone. So, it was fun. I love that feature. Now, you can't bring up any new phone this year and not mention AI. And this phone's no different. So they packed in Gemini Live. This isn't an exclusive for the Pixel phones because I do have it on my Vivo as well, but this is where I got to do the first test run. So essentially you launch Gemini Live, you ask it a question, it'll start responding, and from there it's a conversation. What's up, Gemini?
Hey there. Not much, just hanging out in the digital world, waiting to see what kind of trouble you're going to get me into today. What's on your mind?
So how often does it snow in LA?
Snow in LA? That's pretty rare. You might get lucky and see a dusting in the mountains, but it's really hit or miss.
Okay,
you could always
how
try heading
about
up
the
to
weather for this weekend?
Tomorrow through Sunday in Los Angeles, it'll be partly cloudy, with highs around 80 and lows around 60.
Nice. All right. Well, in closing, tell me a joke. Make it a funny one.
All right, here's a joke. What did the ocean say to the shore? Nothing. It just waved.
It's really cool. I spent longer than I thought I would talking to an AI program. Weird, but cool. Now, another fun feature that I really like, and I know it's going to sound stupid, is in Google Messages. So you can be typing out a message like, hey, how's your day going? And you can put a filter over top of it. So you can have a Shakespeare filter. I think another one is like a relaxed one, and one is cool, and one is formal. One is like poems, where you ask the question and it spits it out in a poem. And when I tell you I drove group messages crazy, like I legitimately did. And I know there's going to be some people that are going to watch it and be like, I hate that. He's that guy that does that. And yes, I am. And I had so much fun hijacking messages with my Shakespeare. Granted, I was still answering questions that needed to be answered. It's just people would have to decipher it because Shakespeare was going. It's amazing. Too much fun. Now, when it comes to Pixels, everybody knows they're known for their cameras. And this one doesn't disappoint either. Now, it's not like class leading when it comes to foldables, but it's still good. And after you hit that button and you see processing, just know the wizardry that's going on after that, worth it. Like, these pictures come out really good. Now, when it comes to the camera app itself, I fully understand now why people compare the Pixel to the iPhone. Like, they're both very simple. It's straightforward, just point and shoot, let the processing do its thing. Not a lot of gimmicky features with it, but I kind of miss the gimmicky features. Like, if you compare it to the Vivos, the Samsungs, the OnePlus, like, they're kind of packed full of fun features. And while you may not use each and every one, there are some that are really cool. So the battery on the Pixel is decent. Like, it's competitive with its peers. It lasted me almost 2 days of normal use, not like heavy video or gaming or whatnot, just normal use. I forgot to charge it that night and it made it the bulk of the next day. So no issues there. Now, the charging for that battery, yeah, we got some beef. I ran this thing down to 1%. I mean, legitimately 1%. And when I tell you that it took almost 2 hours to get back up to 100 in 2024, something about that just doesn't quite seem right. All right, so let's talk about some of the downsides here. So I've seen some of the durability tests. I've listened to some of the Pixel Fold owners on Reddit, and let's just say that, yeah, it looks good and it feels sturdy, but durability may be an issue. I don't have the heart to test that out, but that's just what I'm hearing out of other owners. And let's talk about the camera. Now, where's the cinematic video? Or like Samsung has the director mode where it's dual recording out of both front and back cameras. I get it. Not a lot of people use these, but I did and they were fun. Come on. Also, the aspect ratio. So when you open this phone up, it's a square. So if you're playing YouTube videos or movies, you're going to be dealing with a lot of black box. I couldn't say that with a straight face. Okay, as I just mentioned not too long ago, the charging time, like, give me a larger charging brick. Like, let's get that 0 to 100 to 60 minutes. I think that sounds fair, right? I also don't really like the multitasking on here. Like, yes, it has split screen, but there's no floating windows. And coming off of a Samsung and the Vivo X Fold 3 Pro, you can have 4 things going at once. But with this, it's only 2. And, you know, the whole Google, Android, like, they should be leading the charge, not chasing everybody else. Oh yeah, and I'm pretty sure the Pixel 9 Pro is offered in a 1 terabyte version, but the Pixel Fold isn't. And when you think about that, and knowing that it costs over $2,000, like, what are we doing here? So all in all, I really do like this phone. Like, if I ended up with this over the Samsung, I wouldn't have been upset, or vice versa. It's really cool, but it probably won't be my daily. Like, the last week was fun, and I got to do a lot of really cool features that I don't typically get to do with other, big foldables. But I just feel like it just needed a little bit more. So with that being said, I'm very hopeful for the next generation Pixel Fold. If there's one thing I can be very optimistic about, is that Google is listening. If we've learned anything from the Pixel Fold last year to this year, like, they're listening to feedback and they're actually acting on it. And that's so much better than dealing with companies that just assume they know what the customer wants. So with that being said, Google, I salute you and strongly urge you to keep pushing forward with these foldables, because if your next fold takes the same leap as your last fold did, you're gonna have a monster on your hands. And to everyone out there watching, I hope you're enjoying these videos and you're doing all right. That being said, until next time.